Alex Bregman, he's still a free agent. The Houston Texans, they still don't have an offensive coordinator. Is there anything happening this Friday in the world of sports in Houston, Texas? Doesn't really seem like it. So let's screw around a little bit.
A radio show host in Seattle called Paul Gallant.
Paul Gallant's wondering the same things a lot of people are.
You are definitely living in the hindsight world today, Paul.
Do you feel there's been a consistent theme with the interceptions?
I think every interception really has a different story.
I was just kind of curious what Paul gets to see.
Are you kidding me? Paul Gallant, what the hell is wrong with you?
Hello and welcome aboard the Gallant Says podcast. It is January 31st, 2025, live at youtube.com/Paul Gallant, on Twitch at Gallant Says, on Twitter at Gallant Says, on Instagram at Sports Gallant, and on Facebook at Paul Gallant Sports. You can catch it Monday through Friday around 4 p.m. Central Time. We're still working on getting it started at actually 4 o'clock. We're starting on Southern Time here, or occasionally after major Houston sporting events. Last night we did our show after the Rockets. They fell to the Memphis Grizzlies 120-119 in a game on TNT. You want to chat about that? You can. It's also available wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, and SoundCloud. You might see a chat to the right. Guess what? That chat, when you type something in on YouTube or Twitter or Facebook or Twitch, you'll see yourself right there, and you can actually talk to people on other platforms. If you want to cut the line and cut me off mid-thought, here's what you do. Super chat me. I'll play this.
Paul, stop talking. Listen.
And then I will answer whatever your question is. I will respond to whatever comment you have. Make it a good one. Make it so that it doesn't disrupt the flow of the show. If you don't worry. I'll eventually get to your comments. I'm not trying to rob you blind. There's still no news when it comes to Alex Bregman and where he's going to end up next. We've seen rumors. The Red Sox and the Tigers are interested. The Cubs and the Blue Jays are interested. But ultimately, the Astros gave him an offer of 6 years and $156 million. And it doesn't seem like they are going to budge on that. So, we wait, and we continue to wait. Have we learned anything fun over the last couple of days? Well, earlier on my radio show, we had Chandler Rome of The Athletic and the Clutch City Territory podcast, and he had some thoughts about Alex Bregman, his future. He thinks the Astros are not favorites to sign Alex Bregman.
Yeah, I've never, ever since this whole thing started about 2 weeks ago, I've never thought the Astros were favorites. There was some reporting out there that suggested this was fait accompli, that, Bregman was going to come back and it was going to be this grand welcoming. And yes, he still could come back and it still could happen, but I've never thought that the Astros were the favorites, and I've never thought that this was a sure thing to happen.
I'll pause, Chandler, right there. I wonder who the favorites are, though. I don't think there is a favorite. We keep hearing about the Red Sox, and Alex Cora obviously has his ties to Houston and Bregman. We've also heard about, the Tigers and A.J. Hinch, and supposedly they have the best offer on the table. I don't really know what the Blue Jays would offer, and also it doesn't really seem like they're going in the direction of contending. And what was the other team? The Cubs. Well, a lot of Astros are going there, so that would make sense. Say the Cubs actually offer him something. Plus, they got a little baseball history. Chandler, when he was on with us, actually said, you know what, there is a chance that the Astros and Cubs are on a level playing field. And if you take a look at Vegas, I think the Astros over-under for wins is 86.5. I think the Cubs are 85.5. but we got nothing new. Nothing. So let's continue to listen to what Chandler Rome had to say.
I think it's, as to where he ends up, I can't tell you. I don't know that. I do think he has compelling offers. I don't think this is a situation where he's got, no interest and the Astros are just kind of lingering and hoping he falls back. I think I know he's got competitive offers. Like, he's got the sort of offers that are going to intrigue him from other teams.
But it seems like none of those offers are that intriguing. It seems like 156. No one's willing to go over that. Which does make you wonder about the power of Scott Boras, my co-host on the radio, Joe George. He regularly brings up the fact he believes Boras to be washed. And just given the lack of interest in a guy who has won multiple titles with the Astros and who seems like he would be a perfect fit, especially for the Red Sox. I mean, the Crawford boxes are not as tall as the Green Monster, but I think Bregman would play so well at Fenway Park. But the Red Sox are, for whatever reason, cheap, except for when it comes to bringing in Aroldis Chapman. I believe that's the only signing of consequence they've done this offseason. Here's more from Chandler Rome from earlier today on the Gallant and George radio show, noon to 3, ESPN 97.5, 92.5.
And I think at this point it's just a matter of Alex kind of needs to either make a decision or they need to do the final full court press on the 5 owners involved, the 5 GMs involved, to kind of see, all right, what's the last offer, what's the last thing, and then the negotiations are going to pick up from there. But I would not characterize the Astros as the favorite. I never have. So I don't know where he ends up, but I think it's becoming less likely that it's going to be back here.
I've seen all sorts of interesting reporting on this. I think Will Kunkel of Fox 26 said today on Twitter/X that it used to be less likely that Bregman would return to the Astros, and now it's just unlikely. Hang on, I got to go find the specific wording of this tweet. It made me laugh when I saw it. And that's nothing against Will. It's more, I mean, it's better than the fucking door talk that we've been seeing over the last couple of years. No? Not years, I mean days. Feels like it's been years. I got to be honest. This offseason is long. Here it is. This is a Will Kunkel tweet. I'm sorry. It's so fucking awesome. The odds of the Astros signing Alex Bregman are low, per source. For what it's worth, last week the odds were very low. So I guess it's gotten slightly better. Anyway, they're not the favorites per Chandler Rome. But that also doesn't mean that they're out. And I really wonder when this thing is all going to come together. If you didn't see, the Astros were trying to sign Jorge Polanco away from the Seattle Mariners. And they were outbid. Seattle offered him 1 year, $7.75 million. I wish them the best. That's big spending for the Seattle Mariners. Being outspent by the Mariners is a little embarrassing, but this is a guy who had a 651 OPS last year. He had knee surgery in October. He was going to be, though, per Chandler, who was on with us, their second baseman, at least primary second baseman, which meant that Jose Altuve was going to play in the outfield. So now that Polanco has signed elsewhere, I really wonder if they're going to do anything with this extra cheddar that they got and what was clearly a salary dump, moving Ryan Presley to the Chicago Cubs. When I asked Chandler, he didn't give any potential targets. So I guess we just got to continue to wait here and twiddle our thumbs until something hopefully happens. I guess the Blue Jays have made the most competitive offer who's this from? Bob Nightingale. And they're still big on him. The Red Sox have been hesitant to give Bregman a long-term deal. But the Astros don't seem to be intimidated by Toronto pursuing Bregman because of the taxes in Canada, Also, it's Canada. Is $30 million a year too much for Bregman over 6? I know a lot of us are going to say that's economically irresponsible, but is it really economically irresponsible compared to some of the other moves that the Astros have made? And maybe that's not sound logic as far as saying what the Astros should and shouldn't do. But okay, they gave Rafael Montero that 3-year, $30 million deal. They signed Michael Brantley to a 1-year contract when he didn't have a shoulder anymore. They gave Jose Abreu that 3-year, $58 million deal. Lance McCullers' contract's fucking awful. I feel like if you look at it through that lens, $30 million a year is not too much. Because right now it's at what, 25, 26? Okay, maybe that's one player. If it's 156 over 6 years, doing a little math here. Right? Isn't that what it is? Like, we're not talking that much of a difference. So, considering you're literally paying Jose Abreu and Rafael Montero to not play for you, like, is $30 million so hard to get to? Can you get to $28 million a year? Is that too much? That's what I wonder about. I think we're going to continue to be waiting and twiddling our thumbs, and I got to say, as someone who wants to just get moving and talking about other things, it's driving me crazy. Let's read some comments here. First, let's go to Instagram. Come up King91 comments. You know you love your job when you come home and do it all again. LOL. Well, true, but it's uncensored here, and it's a little bit different because I'm by myself. Down Bad Texans fan asks on Instagram, how's Aria? I think she's in the room. Hang on, let me check. Yep, she's in the room. She is sitting underneath my chair. She was just passed out. I think I just woke her up. Poor little thing. More comments. Avi Lieberman comedy says that $30 million a year is too much. He also asks me to explain the Jorge Polanco interest. I do comedy for a living, and I find that a joke to begin with. That's a solid one. I think it is ridiculous that they were looking at him. And I really think that looking at Polanco had to do with the fact that they hated the right side of their infield defensively. I'll be honest, I don't know much about it's not a good sign. I'm forgetting his name already. Christian Walker, like, I don't know much about him, but I know he's supposedly like the best defensive first baseman. And, you know, with Abreu and some of the other guys who were playing first, it was a nightmare last year. Avi Lieberman also asks on Instagram, Paul is the greatest baseball mind in Houston. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Which outfielders are left to chase? Fuck, dude. I don't know. Like, they're putting Altuve out there, and I think that is a sign that they're unwilling to spend. I mean, I guess I could look this up. Free agent baseball outfielders. We've got... Like, I don't know who any of these guys are, but here's the thing. I don't really pay attention to baseball outside of Houston, even though I'm the greatest baseball mind in Houston, because you know what? The best baseball, it takes place in Houston, Texas. So I know the most recent deals were Jurickson Profar, who signed with Atlanta like about a week ago. He was available at left field. Harrison Bader is still available. You might remember him from his time with the Cardinals, from his time with the Yankees. Former Astro Kike Hernandez is available. He's with the Dodgers most recently. Jason Hayward, who the Astros had last year, is available. Among a bunch of other guys who, I got to be honest, I don't know much about. Some of these guys are in their mid-30s. Aaron Hicks. Like, you're in a pretty tough spot. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like Tommy Pham, but he's 37. So you're in a tough spot. And your outfield sucks at this moment in time. There's not a lot of people left, as brought up by AR Platinum on YouTube. Tora McJohnson, I feel like you're trolling me right now. There's absolutely no way that what you just said is real. And I hate you for making me go to fucking Twitter to check. By the way, did you see Ken? Oh my God, this is the lamest thing ever. So this is Ken Rosenthal's Twitter. Look at this. This is his profile picture. It's the New York Times logo with Guild written in the middle of it. Dude. Can we step our game up? Can we please just be a little bit better here? But yeah, he's got nothing. You son of a bitch. Tora McJohnson, you son of a bitch. You tricked me. And I don't like that kind of thing.
You got fucking grow up, motherfucker. You kidding me?
I don't like that. Thank you, Ozzie Guillen, for chiming in there. Rare Candy is asking me about how I feel about what's going on ESPN 97.5, 92.5. Listen, you got options. That's how I feel about it. Daniel Olivares asks why Polanco when we have Isaac Paredes. Well, from what I understand, based off of people who know baseball way more than me, Paredes is not very good as a second baseman. So, yeah, man. I don't know what to tell you. I'm curious about this before we move on to talking about another story with absolutely no new news. The Houston Texans offensive coordinator search. This is a response to a tweet by Ross over at Sports Talk 790, Rox Villarreal, good dude, saying that Bregman "I'm not fucking leaving" post is going to shut down the city of Houston. A response to this went viral. It's got a surprising amount of likes. If you haven't seen it, it's from Luke Flywalker. No, it won't. People are tired of hearing about it. I'll agree. I am tired of hearing about Alex Bregman. If he stays, he's left a sour taste in the mouth of some fans. And if he goes, oh well. Could have ended this a month ago if he really wanted to. But you're asking him to take less money, and I mean, he thought this is the last time he's ever going to get paid. I get why there's hesitance here, and you got an agent. You're paying this agent a good amount of your salary, and this is what the agent's telling you to do. You got to have diamond hands. You got to stay the course. I wonder if people are turned off by Bregman, though. I don't like how quickly people seem to turn on Astros once they leave. Like, people turned on Verlander. Oh, he wasn't very good in the postseason. I feel like people turned on Carlos Correa pretty quickly. Maybe not so much George Springer. Garrett Cole was an easy one to turn on because he was wearing the Scott Boras hat after the World Series were done, even if that was kind of understandable given that Garrett Cole didn't get put back into the Game 7 of the 2019 World Series. Like, he was waiting to get back in. He should have probably been put back in. So I get it from his perspective. But it was easy to hate. But I do feel a lot of Astros players who leave, the fan base gets all pissy at him. And I don't know. I think it's kind of lame. Maybe booing Carlos Correa in a playoff series is warranted before an at-bat, as long as you're doing it tongue-in-cheek or sarcastically. But I don't know. And it does feel like people are ready to turn on Bregman. And I hate it. He's been one of the most important pieces on this team. He has delivered in the playoffs. He just gets off to slow starts. That's been his biggest problem throughout his career. So I don't agree with that take, but I do think a surprising amount of people are tired of this story and are tired of Alex Bregman. And that does bum me out a little bit.
For me, Captain America.
What else do we have here? Oh, sorry, Anthony Mackie. No, we're getting to you later, buddy boy. So the Houston Texans still do not have an offensive coordinator. Here is the latest on the interview front. They interviewed Vikings assistant offensive coordinator and assistant quarterback coach Grant Udinski. I don't know how many people saw Grant Udinski and what he looks like. I know my friend Sean Pendergast said that he looks a little bit like Bobby Slowick. The picture he posted, it made him look like he's a big guy, but the more that I look at him, the more I kind of see where he's coming from, saying that he looks like Bobby Slowick a little bit too much. So let's just go through some pics. Thank you, Google image search. There's one. He's got some impressive hair in this one. To have hair that looks like this when, you're wearing a headset, that is not easy. Not easy at all. I mean, look at this. I mean, this is impressive. Look at that flow. It's very wavy. Wavy. Do we care about how our coach looks? Some more. He played football at Towson. There he is. He's smaller than Kevin O'Connell. Kevin O'Connell is a former quarterback. If that's him there, he looks pretty tall there, but that quarterback's handing the ball off. This picture's the best one of him because the shirt's baggy and it makes him look like he might be a huge dude. This one. He definitely looks a little more meatheady than Bobby Slowick. So I can't quite go where Sean's going on terms of the way he looks, but that's really all we have to go off of because the guy's never done anything. He's never been a full position coach. He's been an assistant offensive coordinator and an assistant quarterback coach. But I guess he's had 4 offensive coordinator interviews. So that's fun. They also interviewed Commanders assistant head coach and offensive pass game coordinator Brian Johnson. There's so many coordinators that are beneath the coordinator now. Like, how many titles are there in the NFL? We got passing game coordinators, defensive passing game coordinators, running game coordinators. Feels like a lot. But anyway, more on Brian Johnson. He's from Baytown, Eagles offensive coordinator in 2023 when the Eagles offense famously underachieved. This is right after Shane Steichen and Jonathan Gannon left. And he got canned at the end of the year, but he was in Washington this past season and things look good. So maybe you talk to him about, hey, like what didn't work with Jalen Hurts? Why did that year become a disaster? And what is it that you figured out with Jaden Daniels on a team that didn't have a whole lot of talent? As far as questions for Grant Udinski, I think the questions that you ask of him are like, hey, man, you made Sam Darnold stop seeing ghosts. It was like the end of The Sixth Sense or something. Other news as far as the coordinator front. Nick Caley, who seems to be the front runner. If I were a betting man, I would bet on the Texans hiring Nick Caley. He is the Rams tight end coach and passing game coordinator, but not the offensive coordinator, and he's never called plays before. I would bet that he's going to be their next offensive coordinator. And this tweet from Connor Hughes is something else. Per Connor Hughes, who covers the New York Jets for SNY TV, the Jets made a run at adding Nick Caley as offensive coordinator, but he let it be known he did not have interest in the job. The expectation is that Tanner Engstrand will be named Jets offensive coordinator. Never heard of that guy. Tanner. We got to stop naming people Tanner. Remember on Caley, he works with Mike LaFleur. LaFleur was fired by the Jets after his offenses struggled with Zach Wilson. So I'm sure he's had some long conversations with Mike LaFleur about what a messy organization the Jets are. And they are messy. Leaks get out all the time. There's all sorts of media sharks swirling around in circles. So it's one of those jobs where I think you're fucked if you take it, especially when you got a defensive-minded head coach taking over. I hope Aaron Glenn, I wish him the best. He's a good guy. I had him on my TV show back in the day. This was before he got into coaching and rising up the ranks. He's done a pretty good job wherever he's been. But I do hope that the Jets fail. So I hope he does well, but the Jets still fail in spite of his best efforts. Does that make me an asshole? It does. But fuck the Jets. And also fuck the coffee that I just spilled on my white shirt. That's not good. As far as other tidbits about the Houston Texans and their offensive coordinator search, there's strong consideration for internal candidates. The two internal candidates that they've talked to are quarterback coach Gerard Johnson, who, if you haven't heard me tell this story before, Gerard Johnson at the Sports Radio 610 NFL Mock Combine helped me shave 0.2 seconds off of my 40 time. I was running a 5.04, and after he changed my stance, I was running a 4.84. It also proved to me how stupid the 40-yard dash is. The 40-yard dash, in my opinion, is just such bullshit because of the stance you got to get into to launch out of the gate and get the best possible time. It's one of those things where I suppose it's a good gauge for what one's top-end speed is, but how often are you sprinting full speed for 20, 30, 40 yards in a straight line? Only if you're trying to track someone down. So I guess it's a barometer of what a guy is, what a guy isn't, but we put way too much stock into it. And the fact that Gerard Johnson helped me shave 0.2 seconds off of it by talking to me for 5 to 10 minutes is proof of that. But it's also proof that the guy's a pretty good coach. I mean, he helped a dork like me, a flag football legend also, but get a little bit faster out there. I like him. He's been on my TV show before as well, humble brags Paul. But I wonder if an internal candidate is the way, just given how shit hit the fan. Daniel Oliveras asks on Facebook, is Chip Kelly out? Yes, he was on the Texans' initial list, but he decided to stay at Ohio State, which makes Nick Caley, per Aaron Wilson, the Texans' strongest external candidate for offensive coordinator. Doug Peterson, Mike McCarthy, not candidates. Aaron thinks that Gerard Johnson will be promoted to offensive coordinator and that Bill Lazor on staff would be the best hire given that he's called plays before, but he hasn't done it well. I do think that if you hire Caley, you lose Gerard Johnson and you create a little bit more, I guess, things for CJ Stroud to overcome. I don't know if Gerard Johnson would necessarily get a job now or next offseason, but clearly there's not that much interest in luring him away. Still, theoretically, if Kellen Moore, Eagles offensive coordinator, takes the Saints head coaching job, maybe Johnson becomes a target. But right now, to be the offensive coordinator of Philadelphia. But for right now, we have nothing new on the Texans coaching front either. Paul is the greatest football mind in Houston. Should the next coordinator be a line coach? No, I want a specialized line coach to coach the line. Cole Popovich, for what it's worth, based off of conversations I've had, he's one of the assistant offensive line coaches, was one of the few people on the Texans coaching staff that was pretty opposed to Bobby Slowick. He wasn't a fan, from what I understand. I don't know if he ever said that publicly or if he said that in team meetings, but that's my understanding, is that Cole Popovich actually knows what he's doing, or at least thinks he knows what he's doing and thinks that Bobby Slowick didn't know what he's doing. But I would personally rather have an offensive line coach that's a longtime offensive line coach, and I'd rather my coordinator be someone who's worked with quarterbacks. I think your offensive line coach has a lot of work to do focusing on that offensive line. At least Titus Howard's humbled himself. Laramie Tunsil has been good for a while, but how much of a leader has he been? Is he going to need to be more proactive this offseason, or is that not in his DNA? I really wonder about that side of things. So that's really it, man. Like, I don't have much on either Alex Bregman or the Houston Texans. If you want to ask me anything, you can. You super chat. You get to cut to the front of the line, and I'll also play this cut.
Paul, stop talking. Listen.
Some comments here. Toro McJohnson brings up upstanding citizen Kaimi Fairbairn. I'm bringing that up for no particular reason. Yeah, I wanted to take some time to look at the allegations against Justin Tucker. Probably at some point next week, maybe Monday or Tuesday, we're going to compare Justin Tucker's accusations from the Baltimore Banner against the accusations that were against Deshaun Watson. Having skimmed over the accusations against Justin Tucker in the moment yesterday and then reading it a little bit more before today's show, I think that Tucker was less rapey, for lack of a better term. What he was doing was clearly, if it's true, awful. Like, dude, just there are easier ways to get yourself off. I know you're a kicker, but you got two hands. So that's one way. Another way, not there. And maybe when a quarterback goes down with a bunch of cases of sexual misconduct at massage parlors, and I don't know, you've been doing this for a while, maybe when you see that, maybe you stop, especially when you've been kicked out of two massage places. That's a thought, just a thought, though. You know, I'm no expert. I don't know much about much. I just think that you probably should have figured that out. More comments. Black Mantis 78 says, our fan base does jump straight to copium, and that's just petty. When players leave, I'm with you. It bums me out. I don't think every fan base is like this unless they go to a specific place. Growing up in Boston, when after the, I think, 2005 season, Johnny Damon left the Red Sox for the Yankees, people were fucking pissed. And I'll admit, I was really pissed when Adam Vinatieri left the Patriots for the Colts. But that was on the Patriots for that happening. And ultimately, you got to realize generally it's the organization's fault that one of your favorite players leaves and never comes back. Avi Lieberman says, as a Texans fan, I'm completely unfamiliar with players acting absurdly when it comes to sexual impropriety. Yeah, I can't think of anyone off the top of my head who fucked around and found out, other than Deshaun Watson. But yeah, the Deshaun Watson shit, holy crap. I'm so thankful that I was in Seattle for that, so I didn't have to talk about it every day. St. Hova says, only the newer generation of fans turns on hometown legends that way. I don't know, man. Back in the day, owners would do a very good job of painting athletes out to be the bad guy for having the audacity to want more money. They did a really good job with that. I think it honestly was worse back in the day. Black Mantis says, yeah, they got bitter because they didn't pull Bagwell and Biggio loyalty. Right, exactly. Like, there's this expectation of, like, oh, if you're here, you should want to be here. Well, you know, sometimes things happen behind the scenes, just like at any job, that piss you off and you might want to leave. Daniel Olivares on Facebook says, in my opinion, the Astros should go after Alex Verdugo. I think that they can't go after anyone until they get Bregman, and they're only going to go over the luxury tax for a luxury item, and that would be Alex Bregman. All right, we've been talking a lot about absolutely fucking nothing, so I want to shift gears here. Because speaking of saying absolutely nothing, that's what actors used to do. That's what athletes used to do. And look, I don't want to say shut up and dribble, shut up and act. I just want to say, if you're going to say something as a celebrity that's outside your comfort zone, you better knock it out of the park. You better have a really good point. And I think there lies the problem. I think a lot of famous people are of the mindset, due to the echo chambers that they probably surround themselves with, that they're really brilliant people. And yeah, this is going to sound like I'm diminishing folks. And you might be thinking the same thing to yourself. Paul, you don't know shit about baseball, and you talk about it all the time. Granted, but at least I admit it. So it's been an interesting week for actors and performers. There was Selena Gomez, who seemingly started crying before recording a video of herself being upset about people who might get deported by ICE in the coming weeks and months. And look, empathy is important. You know, this is going to sound a little bit bougie, but there was a really nice person at the bar I was at over the weekend who was awesome with the busing service. And I did wonder, like, oh man, is this person potentially in trouble? I don't know. I really don't. I would hate to be in their shoes. But I also think if you're posting a video online, like, and you're crying, and you're an actress by trade, at least based off of the Only Murders in the Building show. But I think she's a singer. I actually don't know what Selena Gomez is. Hang on a second. I'm sorry, guys. I'm uncultured. What is Selena Gomez? Selena Gomez is an American actress. She's an actress first, singer, producer, and businesswoman. Let's show everybody Selena Gomez crying for those who don't know. She's 32 years old, so she's about my age, and I guess she's lost over 800,000 followers after crying about the deportations. I'm going to see if I can find the actual video itself on the fly. Here we go. Here's Selena Gomez.
I want to say that I'm so sorry. All my people are getting attacked. The children. They don't understand. I'm so sorry. I wish I could do something, but I can't. I don't know what to do. I'll try everything, I promise.
All right, look, I understand having empathy for all these people who are in a spot that there's a lot of uncertainty attached to. And you hope, hey, maybe you keep your head down and things will blow over. Honestly, I don't know. What I do know is, as Avi Lieberman says, as an actor and performer, let me assure you there is no dumber group. It does feel like she started crying before recording the video. There's a lot of tears there already. She is an actress. I'm sure she can find a way to make herself cry. And I don't know what the point of that video is. What's the point of that? Oh, it's sad. I'm going to do everything I can. I mean, but what are you going to do? Are you going to let these people live with you? And then you're going to go shop for them and buy their groceries and cook their food, and they're just going to live with you? Be a fun reality TV show. Selena Gomez and the 7 Illegal Immigrants. Working title. I really enjoyed that Only Murders in the Building show until they forced that Cara Delevingne, oh, Selena Gomez is a lesbian now plot. I don't know what the characters' names are. Sorry. When I watch TV shows, the characters' names are usually a secondary thing. But I stopped watching there, not because I am against lesbian love. That's not it. It was more, I was just like, really? This doesn't seem to fit in at all with what we saw in season 1, where she seemed to have a pretty serious boyfriend. No. And then he's just out of the picture. And now all of a sudden, we got a famous actress to be the female lead. And then I just thought to myself, yeah, I'm out. I'm out. But actors are putting their foot in their mouths this week. We've also got, and this bummed me out because, first off, I've truly enjoyed Anthony Mackie as the Falcon in the Marvel comic universe. And I was actually debating going to see this new Captain America movie where he takes over for Chris Evans' Captain America. He was asked this question, and I bet he wishes he could have it back, and I bet the producers of the movie wish he could have it back. Here's Anthony. Is it McKee or Mackie? Fuck, I'm sorry. I'm bad with pronouncing names. I'm bad at everything. Paul, why do you have a podcast? It's a great point. I'm a white man in my 30s. Give me some Give me some slack, okay? Here's Anthony Mackie.
For me, Captain America represents a lot of different things, and I don't think the term, America should be one of those representations. Like, it's about...
Wait a second, what? This is my first time actually watching this. We're going to have to repeat that first part.
For me, Captain America represents a lot of different things, and I don't think the term, America should be one of those representations.
Bro, he's wearing an American flag. He's like a World War II hero, the original character, or the original person that you're taking up the shield for. I don't fucking know. More Anthony. I'm hoping this doesn't get that much worse.
Like, it's about a man who keeps his word, who has honor, dignity, and integrity. Someone who is trustworthy and dependable.
Oh, okay. So I think he's making the implication that America doesn't necessarily represent that because of a certain person who was just elected. It's kind of, this is kind of like, oh boy, he's starting to struggle here.
An aspect of a dream coming true. When I was a kid, all of us as actors, I believe, want to get back to that day before someone told you no. When you look out your door and you see a 5-year-old kid with a stick and he's slaying dragons to save the princess in the tower.
How do we get from Captain America doesn't represent America to this? This is like the puppy who lost its way tangent in Billy Madison.
That kid really believes there are dragons out there. That stick is really a sword and he's really trying to save that princess. And then one day somebody told him, no, there are no dragons. That's not a sword. And that princess is not there. And all of his little dreams were dashed.
Or he might have just realized, like, yeah, I'm a kid. I know those things aren't actually there.
So, as an actor, I feel like our job is to get back to the day where we see that dragon and we slay that dragon to save that princess. And that's kind of what this movie was for me.
Okay, he landed the plane. Jesus Christ. That's Anthony Mackie, everybody. And obviously you start off comments saying, I don't think that Captain America represents America. Well, Marvel's going to come get you, come talk to you, because I think they realize that the vibes have shifted in our country. And here's Anthony Mackie trying to clarify what he said on his Instagram story. Let me be clear about this. I'm a proud American, and taking on the shield of a hero like Cap is the honor of a lifetime. I have the utmost respect for those who serve and have served our country. Oh, no, so the veterans are mad at him. Cap isn't a veteran. Cap was this little dork boy, and I guess he became a veteran after he got HGH. Cap has universal characteristics that people all over the world can relate to. Okay, that's fair. But America first, Anthony. You shut your mouth. That's what it's all about, America. Tormach Johnson says, I get what Mackie is saying, but it was poorly told. He started off with a line that really catches you. And then he kept going and going and going. And then he just drifted off into an analogy. And I think at that point in time, he just lost the room. Anyway, speaking of actors putting their foots in their mouth, I don't know how many people are aware of. Sorry, some of my sound effects are playing in the background. I'm about to toss this some videos. I don't know how many people are aware of the movie Emilia Perez. It's nominated for 13 Oscars, apparently. I haven't seen it. I think I might watch it now, though, because as someone who just watched Lioness on Paramount Plus, I mean, if we're going to have a song like this in a movie and it's being sung unironically by somebody in Zoe Saldana who has been very recently like this absolute stone cold killer, I don't know what they were going for here, but 13 Oscar nominations is pretty good. In case you don't know what we're talking about with Amelia Perez, like this is what they should have used as the trailer. Who thought of the yes part in this song? So that's a musical movie that's nominated for 13 Oscars. I gotta say, props to these people having the balls to make that movie. Tori McJohnson says it's not that bad. It's mid. It shouldn't have been a musical. Well, it's a movie that takes place in Mexico, but wasn't it directed by somebody who's not from Mexico, and none of the actors are Mexican? And of course, it's also a musical as well. On top of that, and there's a song singing about from penis to vagina, and none of the singers seem like they're singers by trade. Probably a problem. So, making matters worse, I guess one of the lead actors from Amelia Perez, Carla Sofia Gascon, thinks that people who don't like the movie are insert phobic. Today, someone asked me if I thought there was an orchestrated campaign against my nomination and against Amelia Perez. It is more than obvious that we have a serious problem that threatens humanity once again. As Popper warned, tolerating the intolerant ends tolerance. Be careful not to continue to ignore hate speech. That's how it started in Germany and how we ended up in concentration camps. Be careful not to laugh at the jokes of leaders who want to cut back on our rights. Be careful not to buy into the fear they spread. Be careful because those who laugh the most today will be the most harmed tomorrow. Cause/effect. Concentration camps and the Holocaust. Okay. This is real comments by Sophia Gascon, Carla Sofia Gascon. Real comments here. I love it. I think I'm going to watch your movie now. I honestly just respect that if you've got a movie so ridiculous where there's a song about penises being turned into vaginas, if there's that much, at a certain point, you know what? You just got to tip your cap and you got to go give them your money. And I'm going to give them my money. I'm going to give it to them. I'm going to give them my money. Because I feel like I'm going to really enjoy this movie, perhaps ironically. And I think what's even better, if songs from this musical get stuck in my head, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sing it to you. Is Alex Bregman signed? No. Do the Texans have an offensive coordinator? No. Penis to vagina. What a song. So she's under fire now, by the way, Carla Sofia Gascon. In spite of her post about tolerating the intolerant ends tolerance, it seems she's not that tolerant. Here's some posts that she made November 22nd, 2020. Is it just my impression, or are there more Muslims in Spain? Next year, instead of English, we'll have to teach Arabic. Islam is marvelous. Without any machismo, women are respected. When they are so respected, they are left with a little squared hole on their faces for their eyes to be visible in their mouths, but only if she behaves, although they dress this way for their own enjoyment. How deeply disgusting of humanity. So she's not a fan of Islam. She's got some anti-Islam takes. She thinks policemen are assassins. More and more, the Oscars are looking like a ceremony for independent and protest films. Oh, no shit. I didn't know if I was watching an Afro-Korean festival, a Black Lives Matter demonstration, or the 8M. Okay, so she's got some takes. And she thinks that people that don't like the movie are the kind of people that lead to the Holocaust. And you know what? Again, I respect her truth. I respect her take, and I'm going to go watch this movie. I am going to go watch this movie. I'll give you a review at some point. I might need to drink or take enhancements into the movie to properly enjoy it, but I'm going to watch it, okay? What else do we have here? Oh, more actresses putting their foot in their mouth. Remember Rachel Zegler, the girl who I guess is playing Snow White in the live action movie? Strong, powerful, independent woman. She also has, I think, ruined the movie that is set to be released with some of the things that she said before said movie.
I'm a narcissist. The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so.
Okay.
There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Well, hey, isn't that what love's all about? Like, there's a little stalking that goes on at first. Who doesn't stalk the people that they see on a dating app just a little bit on social media to see, like, hey, like, these pictures misleading?
Weird. And then it became like, I will elbow everyone out of the way to play the part. But people will assume it's a love story just because, like, we cast a guy in the movie, Andrew Burnap. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby.
I say, if I'm going to stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed online.
And we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
Here's the thing. You know, I actually respect the cartoons that were made by Disney way back in the day. I imagine it took a lot of effort to put those things together. They are works of art. I think Snow White's like 60, 70 years old or so. You know, do we have to remake it? That's really the only question that I have. So she's got some takes. She's young. I think when we're young, we think we know everything. I know when I first started as a sports talk show host in Houston, I was an insufferable twat. Like I was the worst. It just came down here like, yeah, you guys aren't the Patriots. You're fucking frauds. And while I was right there, like, I was very annoying and I thought I knew everything. And I learned over time I don't know everything, and it's okay to admit you don't know everything. But not everybody feels that way in our industry. Whatever. I'm very comfortable with who I am. So Rachel Zegler's probably over time going to get a little more mature, but actors should probably like talk less unless they really have something profound to say. And if you're constantly talking and you're constantly thinking the things you say are profound, people are going to get annoyed by you, and eventually they're not going to watch your movies. I've heard it described as this, like back in the day in Hollywood, the studio would pay you, and basically they said, yeah, shut the fuck up. We'll take care of you. Just make sure you shut the fuck up. Don't be too crazy with the drugs. Don't be too crazy with the sex. Just shut the fuck up, okay? We'll take care of you. Now, we all have a way to share all of our thoughts at all times. And people got very outspoken, and the problem is a lot of the people who are outspoken now are just talking out of their asshole. Some comments. Avi Lieberman, thanks for sticking around as long as you have. I would rather spend a month in Gaza than be subjected to Emilia Perez. I'm garbage phobic. Manny Man 17 says what's crazy is that it got more nominations than Dune Part 2. It is pretty nuts. Dune Part 2 was awesome. Lieberman says the Holocaust cost less pain than watching that film. As the Jew in this thread, I'm allowed. Damn, dog. But hey, you said it. Ba-doom. So, the good thing, if you don't like Rachel Zegler, somebody put together a Snow White trailer. It has 2.1 million views. It was put on YouTube 6 days ago by Chat Music. Since it was getting roasted in the comments section, the original trailer for Snow White, someone made a song out of the comments. I have not heard it yet. I heard it's funny, so let's play it here. Here is the Snow White trailer comments as a song. Tormac Johnson says, Rachel Zegler is the least of the issues with the new Snow White. People using Zegler for clickbait and rage bait. Yeah, you got to have a fall guy for Disney. You got to throw this lady under the bus. Our friend Kayla Nicole is back in the news. Kayla Nicole is the ex-girlfriend of 5 years of Travis Kelce. They haven't dated in 2 years. She's on this show called Special Forces, and for the love of God, I want to stop talking about her, even though the most viral I've ever gone in my life was for a post that I made about how she won't stop talking about Travis Kelce. Basically, I just started off the clip saying, shut the fuck up. And somehow it blew up. The two biggest posts I've ever done on social media. One, and this is just shows you, I don't get the algorithm at all. But number one, that. And number two, me saying that the WNBA is actually a lot like the Big East basketball and 90s basketball that everyone claims that they miss. Here is Kayla Nicole on the TV show Special Forces. And guess what? Once again, she's talking about her old man.
Full transparency, there's a part of me that wishes I was addressing this farewell to my husband and kids too.
I guess she got voted off the show. Oh, they're crying. Well, she must have left an impression. Maybe she's cool to hang out with.
I always thought at this point in my life I would have that tribe.
Oh, man. Well, you know what? If you keep finding ways to talk about Travis Kelce, like, you're always going to have a tribe of people hating on you. But listen, today, being cringe is just as effective as being cool. Cringe is the new cool. So keep doing you, sweetie. Is that demeaning to say? Whatever. It's Friday. There's one last thing I wanted to play before
I'm a
I got
soldier.
out of here. Yeah, that's right. Darius Garland, you might remember him from a couple of weeks ago. The Rockets played the Cavs. I guess it was actually last week now that I think about it. Maybe a week and a half ago. Rockets are playing the Cavs. And Darius Garland's shooting a three that could have ultimately given the Cavaliers a win in regulation. He pulls, and he gets fouled on the play. But he misses 2 of the 3 free throws at the line. I'll be honest again, this is like my spring training as football season wraps up. I don't know much about the Cavs. I know they're doing well this year. And I don't know much about... I don't know much about Darius Garland. I truly don't. He's a good shooter, I think. So that's fun. But Darius Garland was asked about coming back from an injury. I guess he had a jaw injury of some sort. I honestly don't want to check it because I just want to play this, much like the actors we played before, completely delusional athlete.
I'm a soldier. For real. A lot of people don't go through jaw surgeries and wires shut. And, I mean, I couldn't talk, couldn't eat. Like, it was... I know a lot of people that wouldn't do that.
Look, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't recover either very quickly. I'd bitch and moan and whine about it the whole way through. I would. But... let's play the beginning of that clip by Darius Garland of the Cleveland Cavaliers again.
I'm a soldier. For real.
I'm a soldier for real. One more time.
I'm a soldier. For real.
Why is he sniffing right after he says that?
I'm a soldier. For real.
Is he about to laugh? Like there's a breath that he draws in there. And it's almost like he's laughing at himself for saying something so fucking stupid. I'm a soldier. More Darius Garland.
A lot of people don't go through jaw surgeries and wires shut. And, I mean, I couldn't talk, couldn't eat. Like, it was... I know a lot of people that wouldn't do that or
Again, that would suck, but I think soldiers go through more.
couldn't do that. So, yeah, I'll say that. Just another bump in the road.
Soldiers go through worse bumps in the road, and we all know what that means.
Just dealing with some adversity, just getting through it, just fighting.
There's no doubt that going through a broken jaw, I mean, that requires some toughness to get back out there eventually, to be the same player again, because I'm assuming you're going to lose weight there. Yeah. I'm a soldier for real. Shut the fuck up. Abby Lieberman asks, can't we reinstate the athletes couldn't talk, actors can't talk policy? It would be nice. There's only one person that I want to hear from when it comes to soldiers in sports, and you all know where I'm about to go with this one. How many of you guys remember University of Miami legend Kellen Winslow Jr., who had this to say after a Miami-Tennessee game way back in the day?
Media sessions, Winslow was asked if he realized that Campbell had been injured on the play.
Down on the... Yeah, I don't give a hell. It's about this you, man.
I don't give a hell. I've never heard that.
I don't give a flying you-know-what about...
A flying you-know-what and a hell.
Of all. I don't give a damn. He do this...
A damn. The funny thing is, it's like he's tiptoeing on the line of whether or not he wants to swear here, which I think is very funny.
Same thing to me. It's war.
It's war.
They don't give a freaking you-know-what about...
A freaking you-know-what. Ultimately, Kellen Winslow Jr. finishes this with one of the iconic lines of Miami Hurricane history. But to get to that point, the goofy things he's saying along the way that kind of make you feel he's not as cut loose as he wants everyone to believe he is. He's not as tough. He's not as much of a hardo as he wants everyone to believe he is. But here's more Kellen Winslow Jr.
You. They will kill you. They're out there to kill you. So I'm going to kill them. You write that in the paper. You write that.
Believe me, I will. Yeah. Everyone's going to write this in the paper, dog.
You make money off that.
We will.
No, man, I'm pissed.
He's doing this all shirtless, by the way. Like today, athletes, they'd always put some clothes on. Whoever Miami's PR person was should have stepped in and ended this a lot more soon.
All y'all take this down. I'm pissed, man. We don't care about nobody except this you. We don't. If I didn't hurt him, he'd hurt me. They're gunning for my legs. I'm going to come right back at him. Soldier.
With all of the tiptoeing around swearing, he wraps it up with one of the most iconic lines that Darius Garland half-assedly did.
Soldier.
I'm a fucking soldier. I think Kellen Winslow Sr. is probably not very proud of Kellen Winslow Jr. Kellen Winslow Jr., if I'm not mistaken, is in jail. He had that jacking off in a Boston Market parking lot issue. Yeah, here's a story from September 13th of 2024 from ESPN. Kellen Winslow II is seeking reduced prison sentence. Winslow was sentenced to 14 years in prison after being charged with multiple sex crimes. He agreed to plead guilty to 1 count of rape and 2 counts of assaults. Jesus. Winslow is seeking to have his sentence reduced under a law that allows for relief on the grounds that he previously experienced psychological, physical, or childhood trauma, including but not limited to abuse, neglect, exploitation, or sexual violence. This is a bill that was enacted just after his sentencing. I mean, I would do that too. I would do that too. He spends his days reading the Bible and self-help books, running with other inmates and taking part in counseling. My goal is to become a better man and one day reunite with my wife, who stood by me for a long time, and my 2 children. She divorced him in 2019. I think that's when the Boston Market incident happened. I think that's when the Boston Market thing happened. Boston Market, Kellen, I don't think they're using him in their advertising campaigns. This is from 2014. All right, she stayed with him 5 years after that. Kellen Winslow was arrested for synthetic marijuana possession. Police were called to the scene in a Target parking lot because a witness told him the Jets tight end was engaged in sexual congress with himself in his vehicle. And when cops arrived after a woman called in to report that she thought he was yanking it, the cops came and he was wearing black sweatpants and told them he was lost and looking for Boston Market. I'm lost, man. I'm looking for Boston Market. Oh, boy. Imagine saying that. All right, so that's going to wrap up today's show. Yeah, this was a messy one all over the place. All I had to work with was fucking Bregman and no new news. And on top of that, the Houston Texans offensive coordinator search and no new news. So I hope you enjoyed the fun that we had together after that was all done. What's up, Capsized? Guillermo de Villa says, Alex Bregman values himself how a single mom that's overweight values themselves. Hey, that's not nice. But on that note, we're going to wrap up today's Gallant Says podcast. We're going to try to do this 4 p.m. Central Time every day next week. It's live at YouTube, at Paul Gallant, on Twitch, at Gallant Says, on X, at Gallant Says, on Instagram at Sports Gallant, and on Facebook.com/Paul Gallant Sports. At that time, it's also available after the fact wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, and SoundCloud. So long, farewell. Have yourselves a wonderful weekend. We'll be back